straight from the automotive industry event of the year, NADA 2025. Chicks in Charge and Authenticom are bringing you the biggest names in automotive. From industry disruptors to game-changing innovators, we're getting the inside scoop on what's next for the auto world. This is where leaders talk and the future takes shape. Are you ready? Buckle up and let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition. I am Shasta Haddock, and I am joined today by one and only Sam Dark of Zeigler Auto Group. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to be here in New Orleans after all the excitement of coming in.
Right?
Yes.
Did you make it in first try?
So it was super dramatic because 2 missed flights out of Chicago, and then finally a flight from Chicago to Houston, and then a rental car from Houston to here. 7.5-hour drive later.
Heavens.
We're here, and we're here. So like the people who really wanted to be here, really wanted to get something great out of NADA, they're here.
Yeah.
So.
And it seems like it just goes to show, you know, we've been through so much over the last several years as an industry.
Yeah.
You just can't knock us down.
That's right.
We
Innovative.
will find a way through anything and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're awesome. And I think you're one of the lucky ones who actually got a rental car. I heard that there was people who flew into places to try and drive in, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, we're out of cars.
Yeah. I have the rental car, and it's sitting at the hotel, and I'm not giving it up till I leave.
I would bet. Yeah.
Not giving it up.
I would if I were one of those people, I'd start calling around local dealerships and be like, hey, hook me up. Like, let's drive to NADA together.
Yes.
So you have a lot going on. You are the COO of Zeigler Auto Group.
Correct.
How big is that group? It's pretty big.
Yeah, Zeigler Auto Group started by Harold Zeigler, 1975.
Wow.
We were celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. Aaron Zeigler is now president and CEO, full command control. Incredible businessman. Harold started it with 1 location in Lowell, Michigan, grew it to 4 or 5 locations. Aaron, since 2000, when he took over, has blown it up to 41 locations, 4 states, 2,700 employees, just shy of $3 billion in revenue, and sell 4,000 or 5,000 units a month.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
you get to be in charge of operations for all of that.
It is a heck of a lot of fun working with an incredibly talented team of general managers and teams across the auto group. So yeah.
What did you do before this? Were you in a leadership role, this size?
So just before this, I worked for a company called Zurich. It's a Swiss-based insurance company, and I worked and managed a team of finance people across the country. Worked with some of the largest dealer groups in the country, dealer groups like Garber in Michigan and Bergstrom up in Wisconsin, thinking of some of the bigger ones that come to mind, and had the opportunity in that role to really get to know people within the industry that were doing great things and really see the difference between something that's really well run and one that struggles. And it seems like execution, a commitment to execution, is a common trait among dealership, and ingenuity, to your point, are common traits among dealers that excel versus struggle. So yeah.
And it all starts from the top down. I mean, no matter 100%. What, it seems like, I mean, we work with so many dealerships, and every time we go in and we see something that is working or is not working, it depends on the leader who's pushing it down.
100%. Yeah. So the leader, the culture.
Yes.
One of the things we believe at the Zeigler Auto Group strongly is a culture of accountability. And in a lot of ways, you know, we look at sports teams and try to emulate what they do, being player-led. So allowing the team members, instead of the person at the top always having to say, hey, you've got to do this, and are you doing this, and how do I know you're doing this? It's awesome when the team members have ownership in that vision. They think they feel like they have ownership in the result, and they hold each other accountable better than, you know, a few people at the top can. So, yeah.
And it 100%. I always love when people make the analogy back to sports, because I'm almost afraid to admit this anymore, especially right now with everything is. I'm a huge Chiefs fan, and that's one of the things that I feel like you can point at that has made the Chiefs organization so powerful, whether you want to be on the side of the refs or whatever. But between Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the leadership that team has, and it's unparalleled by anything else in the NFL. I mean, we look at what happened with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and it was similar to that. And dealers miss that so much, and they just want to bark orders and bark orders and bark orders, and nobody listens to that. And you have to buy in and apply it yourself and lead instead of manage.
Yeah, I mean, if you're barking orders, if you're completely, what's it called, micromanaging all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to work around that because it's not fun to show up for work and do that. Nobody wants to be, like, I think it's a basic human right at some level or another as an employee to say, hey, I want to take ownership in what I do. I want to be part of something that's special. I want to have an opportunity to win at what I do, whatever that is. And in my work, where we spend more time at work than we do anywhere else,
Yep.
I want to know that what I'm doing has the potential to have an impact out in the world.
Exactly.
Potentially could change the world even, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's washing a car as a porter, right? That makes a huge difference in the life of the person that picks their car up from service and is driving, people to work with them, or kids to school or soccer or whatever. Like, that porter makes a difference in that day. And a porter being barked at, that's no fun.
No.
But if I see my purpose as a porter, I understand the why, and I see how I fit into the team goal, and I'm totally committed, laser focused to execute, that makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And will make or break the customer's day even.
Yes.
You get your car back and you're like, there's a giant muddy footprint in my
Yeah.
floorboard. I'm never taking my car back to that dealership, or it's even more so clean than they expected it to have it back. And they're like, oh my gosh, they did such a great job.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my car here every time. I mean, it literally is so small like that. But you have your thumb on the pulse of so much. You're leading a giant organization, doing all of the things, making sure that your general managers are doing what they're supposed to be. But you have also, fairly recently, if I remember right, joined with Car Dealership Guy and are doing your own podcast too.
So when I first came across to Zeigler 4.5, almost 5 years ago now, one of the first ideas during the dark days of COVID was, hey, we got to find a way to better communicate with our employees. And Aaron and his leadership team at that time, they were doing weekly and daily, actually, during COVID, video messaging. They saw the need for what we're doing here today, which is a podcast backed up by video, as a way to communicate and keep people connected together, even in a time when you couldn't be together all the time. I came over and said, hey, these video daily things you're doing are great. It would be awesome to even up that by doing a podcast. So we created an internal podcast. I think we're one of the first dealer groups to do one, that we did one consistently every single week. To date, I think we've got almost 200 episodes of our internal podcast. We do it every single week. All of our employees are able to listen to it. And we have guests come on. We highlight employees. We share news articles with them. And if you think about it, 2,700 employees, it's tough to push information from the quote-unquote top down.
Yeah.
It's tough to preserve that culture. And so we do that as a way of preserving culture and communicating with our employees. Well, several years later, or a couple years later, some of our vendors are like, hey, we want in on this too. So we did an external podcast called Driving Vision Podcast. We've got about 100 episodes of that.
Wow.
So that's been fun. And then we saw what the Car Dealership Guy's been doing. And he said, hey, come do a weekly industry spotlight. And that's been just a heck of a lot of fun every Sunday. Most Sundays, we release a brand new episode with him. And it's a great opportunity to spotlight car dealers in the industry and great vendors solving solutions. And selfishly, for me, it's a great way to get to know different vendors. And it's a great way to see great things people are doing in the auto industry, which just really confirms what you said earlier, which is in the auto industry, we're super ingenuitive, right? We find creative solutions to crazy problems. So yes, there's a lot on the plate, but it sounds
like you're having fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's, when you have fun, you're not, you're not really working. And going back to the idea of when people take ownership in what they do, there's an operations role, but in our organization, we're super high execution. We believe in what we do. And our GMs, our teams across the entire auto group, they just execute at a high level, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So they don't it's not our philosophy to micromanage.
Yeah.
Which is why we're also on podcasts like this, because hopefully there are people out there in the auto industry that are like, hey,
what's Zeigler up to?
Yeah, I like the vision. Zeigler's going to acquire a store in our market, or hey, they have a store in our market. I want to come join and be part of that. And that's part of this. So,
And that's so much fun. I wanted to ask you, you kind of brought it up a little bit, but when you meet with other vendors and you're finding other dealers, what would you say is your most effective way of finding new guests and knowing that like, oh, this is somebody that I really need to talk to. This is somebody the industry needs to hear from.
As far as the Car Dealership Guy podcast, or as far as just like new ideas that we bring into the auto
like
group?
Car Dealership Guy podcast. So when you're sharing, you know, whether it's dealers or vendors with the industry.
Yeah. So the Car Dealership Guy has an incredible team. Jay Law is one of the guys. So he and I will have conversations about what dealerships are doing crazy, ingenuitive things that other people aren't doing.
Right.
Like, for example, here at the show, I saw Alex
Flores.
No, he owns an EV dealership out west.
Okay.
And all he does is he sells EVs 100%.
Yep.
And he's doing EV service. So he has, if you have an EV and your EV needs service, he's the only person I know of in the entire country that will bring a dedicated EV Cybertruck, come to your house, and he'll service your EV.
What?
Which
mobile EV service. That is huge.
I'm like, we have to talk to this guy and understand who is he, what's he doing, what's the ROI on it, why is he doing it, and what's his vision for making it bigger and better. And just fascinating. We have Amazon Auto coming on in a couple weeks. Everybody's fascinated by Amazon Auto. What does it mean to the industry?
It's so new.
Yeah. Well, are they looking to take over? Are they looking to help? And so it's fun just to, you know,
it is a good question. Yeah.
From an operations standpoint, I think a great tool is just being curious and inquisitive, and it's an awesome opportunity to be curious.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've found the same thing, that the more curious I am to learn about why do you do that, or how do you do that, that I'm like, okay, I guarantee you I'm not the only one that thinks this. There's other people who want to know the same thing.
Yes.
And so it's so much fun, you know, getting to do podcasts like this, you know, learn all about all other people and what they're doing in the industry, and getting to connect and meet great people. It makes it, you're like you said, it's just, it makes it not a job. It's fun. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I get to wake up in the morning and do this. This is really cool.
Well, and you get a new idea and you're like, that's a great idea. And if it works, that creates momentum and excitement. It gets more buy-in into what you're trying to do. And it just kind of repeats and it kind of builds on itself. So, yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So we just had Yossi on, and you're working with Car Dealership Guy. Yeah. And I'm hoping that your answer isn't the same as his.
Uh-oh.
What do you think is big and coming in 2025? We're obviously fresh in the NADA show right now. But what do you think is going to be big this year that your group's going to be looking at and that other dealers need to be watching?
You know, I think first and foremost this year is going to be an incredible year just to deliver a great experience to customers and to win in the marketplace. Yeah. Like interest rates are coming down, gas prices are coming down, there's increased manufacturer incentives.
Yep.
And then with the political changes that have recently happened that feel like they're kind of pushing people into a better economic state and make them feel better.
Right.
2025 could be a record year for both unit and profitability. I mean, maybe not profitability, especially coming out of COVID, but certainly unit sales. And a great opportunity to use technology like AI and some of the other tools that you can see in a place like this here at NADA to better create that customer experience.
Exactly.
At Zeigler, you know, a lot of people have said, hey, out in the industry, a lot of people have said, hey, you know, AI is going to take over the world. You won't need salespeople anymore. You won't need finance people. You know, I think one of the things we proved over and over again is that when we have people doing a great job of creating an experience, not making it a commodity, AI is awesome because it helps provide more information to the salesperson and the sales manager and the consumer. But ultimately, it's that person that can help serve that customer and create that experience to the very best. So AI helps support the process, and then the salesperson, the finance manager, the sales manager, the GM helps connect and take it across the finish line. So,
relationship building.
Yeah. We lose in the industry when cars are just a commodity. At that point, we can just go online and just buy stuff.
We saw that with what happened during COVID. I mean, we all just, you know, everybody had the same vehicles, and it's like, all right, you know, come get it. We're all just order takers at this point. We lost that relationship building, that personal one-on-one, and quickly realized, oh, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah. Or there were less vehicles in the market, so there was a flurry of demand, and demand exceeded supply, and so you didn't actually have to create an experience. You didn't actually have to serve. And, you know, we're having a lot of fun at our auto group, really focusing around customer experience, really focusing around how do we light the customer up when they come through, how do we meet that customer where they are in any given moment, and creating that experience that will create a relationship for life with that customer. And that's the future of this industry, I think. So when you talk about opportunities in 2025, it's a great opportunity to have a year that is going to be record breaking. And it's also a great opportunity to double down on basic core processes that will create that great experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I know that you have other places to be. I have one last question for you, and this thing's going to beep here in a second. But I want to know if you could create one process, one software, whatever, to make your life and the automotive life easier, what do you think it would be that you would create?
One software or one product that would make life easier in automotive. My gosh, if I knew the answer to that, I probably would have done
created it by now.
I wonder what Yossi would say, so I'll have to listen to your episode.
I didn't ask him that.
Oh, you didn't ask him?
I asked him, what's one thing that you love that nobody knows you love?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that's fun.
And his answer was Moana 2.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can agree with that.
That's very cool. That's very cool. You know, here's what I would say is I think as soon as a need arises in automotive, somebody sees that need, and again, to the point of being ingenuitive, we bend over backwards to try to create or solve a solution, create a solution, and then push that solution out.
For sure.
And so when you think about it, like there are pain points in automotive. Data ownership is one. Having too many logins is another, right?
Oh my gosh.
Refinancing is going to be a big issue here in the next coming months. And this industry will quickly pivot to fill that need and deliver an incredible experience to the customer.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is a heck of a lot of fun. You guys are doing a great job here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody gets to NADA.
Yes, yes. We're wrapping up interview number 2 at the Authenticon booth at NADA. We are so excited to have had Sam Dark on the show. Check him out online. He's on Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow him and follow that show of his.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This episode is brought to you by Authenticom, the business behind the automotive business. And this is Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Help us grow. Rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.